Hello and welcome. I'm Ben from Digi International. In this video, I'm going to show you how to update the firmware of a device running Digi Accelerated Linux, sometimes referred to as DAL or DAL. In this demo, I'll do the file upload over Ethernet using the LAN interface direct to the device. We recommend that you keep your Digi devices up to date with the latest firmware. This ensures you will have the latest features and security patches on the device you own or manage. First, you'll need to obtain the firmware for your device. In this demo, I'm using an iX14 router. The process is the same for other Digi Accelerated Linux based devices like the Connect IT, 6300, 6310, 6350, EX15. To make sure you download the correct firmware, go to the Digi website, go to Support, Firmware Updates. Start typing the model name to filter the list. Click on the model. This brings you to the support page for the device. For this product, there is carrier firmware, which is used for updating the cellular radio modem firmware, and the system firmware. This is the one that we need. This is for the main device firmware and contains the latest features and security patches. There is a link to the release notes. This file contains a list of changes in the firmware that we'll be installing. Please review the file and make sure you understand what is going to change before applying the new firmware. Notice in the new features that the web UI is being changed. So that's significant. Things are going to look different after this firmware is applied. Looking further down at the enhancements, notice that the default username is changing from root to admin. Another significant change. Notice that if you use root to log in, then it will remain usable. But if you factory reset a device using this firmware or newer, then the root username will be removed and admin should be used instead. When you've read through the firmware release notes and understand what's going to be changed and you're happy with it, return to the previous page. Choose to save the firmware file. The file downloaded successfully, so we can now update the system firmware. Open the device's web user interface in your web browser. Log in. And we can see here the firmware that is currently on this iX14, 19.8.161. We'll be updating this to 19.11.72.58. Click on System from the left-hand menu. Device firmware is what we'll be updating, so click on Choose File. Navigate to the location where the file was saved earlier. Select the file, click Open, leave the options blank, and click Update Firmware. The pop-up warning tells us that we should not interrupt the update, and it could take a few minutes. If you agree to this, click OK. If you send a constant ping to the device, you'll see when it comes back online. Press F5 to refresh the page. We can see that looks different now, so we know the firmware has been applied. Let's log in and click on Dashboard. The firmware version is now shown as 19.11.72.58. The firmware update process is now complete. To find documentation such as the user guide, go back to the Digi website where we were earlier for the firmware updates, scroll down to documentation and expand that section. You'll see here is the Digi iX14 user guide. All products should have a user guide or a reference manual. You can click on the menu, view the contents, and also search at the top. I hope you found this useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.